Welcome, fight fans, to episode 49 of the Hooks In MMA podcast. We've got a crazy episode coming up this week. 4 guests, all fighting Friday night on the BFL 67 card. We've got both headline heavyweights, the Canadian Chris Larsen, as well as the Brazilian Kiyo Bigfoot Machado. That's going to be a great interview, so tune in for that one. And then, of course, Dario Sinagoga and Seriy Sidey also on the show. It's a great little local circuit here, a regional circuit. So I hope you guys tune in, cheer these guys on. But then we got to get ahead of that book. Looking forward to the Rosenstrike Sakai UFC Fight Night Saturday night. It's actually a great card with a bunch of heavyweight bouts. Our boy Tanner, the Bulldozer Bozer's on the card. He's going to be cracking skulls. So you better tune into that. And Zebo's got some great picks up his sleeve to share with our fans. For Hot Headline, we're just going to be talking a bit about some upcoming potential rule changes, how those might play out, and some of our ideas, and hopefully Dana White and his crew's listening. Zoni, why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, just a couple quick things. So Sidey's fight about an hour ago got canceled. His opponent had some weight cut issues. So unfortunate, because I was looking forward to we were looking forward to seeing him back in there. Another thing too is when all these smaller promotions were off last year because of the pandemic, the UFC went in and bought a bunch of them. So tomorrow we'll be streaming live on UFC Fight Pass, and which will have more eyes on it. So that heavyweight bout there. Maybe the winner gets a Contender Series fight this summer. So the eyes are on there, and it should be a pretty good card. Ben Zeman has a buddy as well that'll be fighting on the card. Maybe you can mention his name, Z, just a guy to watch out for, maybe.
Yeah, Johnny Bodie is fighting, I guess. First fight professionally, has 2 amateur fights. So check him out. I think there's a lot of fights on that card.
Yeah.
Zone. I was taking a look at it. It's pretty large, so I don't know exactly when it is. It's a little bit kind of in the middle there, but yeah, take a look there. A lot of good Canadian talent.
Yeah, out west. So it starts at 8 p.m. Eastern. So there will be a full night of fights. Obviously, that's a lot earlier out that way, but yeah, some solid fights there. In terms of some potential rule changes, we were talking about a few here. They came out with an ESPN article about a few. Ones that stand out to me here, and not necessarily like rule changes, but things that may need to get incorporated here. We've talked about union stuff, so probably won't throw that out. I think I'll add, about the weight classes here. So, I was talking about this before with you guys. If you're a gatekeeper, a guy that's been around for a while, or if you're somebody that's up and coming, but you lose that fight against a top 5 guy, and you just can't seem to get yourself like a championship fight, having more weight classes like they kind of did in boxing could potentially be a positive, even though it kind of stretches out the roster. But we've talked about that happening in the last year anyways, and the cards are a little weaker from top to bottom because of the size of their roster. But if they increase the amount of title holders, it could actually make it more intriguing, where you're going to have more title fights per card, which actually will make it, stronger. So a guy that, let's say at 170, can't crack that top 5, and he's actually maybe a little smaller for the division. If they had like a 165-pound division, he moves down, doesn't have to cut as much weight, which also may be something we might talk about. Maybe he gets a chance at that top 5, and maybe he's better suited at that weight class. He could be champion. Creating more champions, I think, could actually benefit the UFC and maybe some other organizations. So I don't know. It definitely could happen. Over the years, they've added in, an extra women's division. They've added in, the flyweight is fairly new, and then it went away. Now it's resurrected itself with Davis and Figueiredo. But I think that's something potentially that we could be looking at in the next year or two, adding at least another division or two. Oh, sorry, I'll add in too the 205-pound light heavyweight, and then all the way up to the heavyweight that's 260 pounds. You could definitely slide in something in between there as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, even between middleweight and light heavy, it's a bit of a delta, right? What is that, 20,
20,
25 pounds?
20 pounds.
So,
Yeah.
maybe make a 190. And I think UFC would rake in on this. You get more of these champ kind of like ultra fights, which, yeah, we've seen a few of them here recently, but I think there'd be even more. Like, think about Izzy. He could potentially win 3 belts in 3 different weight classes, right? Like, I don't know. Could
Yeah.
be really interesting.
Yeah, I think you're really, like you said, killing two birds with one stone there with you're adding more of those divisions and, like you said, more champs, and you're cutting down on the weight cut, right? And I think that's going to make these divisions more competitive and even more for exciting fights, right? So I think that's a good idea. They haven't been able to do it because there's just not enough. It's not big enough sport. There's not enough fighters. Now we're starting to get on that tipping point, I think, a little bit with McGregor and everything else. Okay, now we're starting to really expand into mainstream. Okay, now we can start thinking about adding some more in. And I think it is really important to kind of, in the long run, right? Get 10-pound difference. I think from like that 155 to 205, instead of having only that welterweight and middleweight, have 3 or 4 divisions in between there. I think is really gonna just increase the quality of the product, I think, in the long run, right? So I think it's a great idea. Another one that I kind of liked in there, we've mentioned before, but just quickly, I mean, the scoring, right? They really need to, I think, the live scoring. I'm starting to think about it more. At the beginning, I didn't think it was a good idea. Now I am starting to think it's a pretty good idea, actually, because guys are going to be fighting a lot harder, even whether they're winning or not winning, right? Well, obviously, if they're not winning, they're going to be fighting harder. If they are winning, you think, okay, well, the guy might lay back a little bit, but the other guy is going to be pushing on him. So he's not going to be able to lay back and just do whatever, right? When both guys think they're winning, then they do both lay back and not really get too aggressive, right? So I think that's really important thing I think they need to implement in the long run, I think. I don't know on Reddit if you guys saw this, or some of our viewers might have saw this, but a guy put together MMA stats posts showing all that strikes output per round, actually, from like first to fifth round, just from every fight over the last, I don't know how many years exactly, because I forget, but it was a very large sample size. And you can see on average from the first round to the fifth round, the strike output is going up and going up, actually, because guys are actually, they're trying to win the fight a little bit more, because they're thinking, well, am I winning or am I not? Some guys are losing, so they're fighting more, they're fighting harder. If the guy knew for sure, think about how much of that output would now be going up. It would be a lot more. We would get more. I think we would actually get more output in the first round as well, right? Because guys would be able to know, right? They know they're going to be winning or losing come the second round, so they're going to make more strategic decisions, let's say, right? So yeah, there's a lot of things to think about there, but I think there's that's article kind of suggested a lot of nice things there. So
Super interesting. I think more stats, more live scoring, any of that, I think enhances the fans' experience for viewing and watching. And I don't know, maybe the UFC can take a page out of the PFL book too,
Yeah.
right? Like, they seem to be doing something right. I've really been enjoying watching those cards, and I only know maybe a quarter of the fighters on them, and I still really find it entertaining. So I think that plays into that, Tony. I think the fan benefits, but also the fighter, and even the coaching, right? Like, change up their strategies based on what they're seeing on the board. And yeah, who knows? I would love to see a before and after shot, right? Are there more knockouts now, more submissions because of this?
Yep.
Like, almost do an A/B test to
Right.
see what it yields. So yeah, Z, 100% agree.
Yeah, me too.
Let's lobby these guys to get it introduced.
yeah, I think it's going to be there eventually, right? Like that's why I love MMA, right? It's like, yeah, like being a football fan, basketball fan, that's fun, and the stuff it's great product as well. But MMA, it's truly in the grassroots still. Who knows where it's going to end up, what it's going to look like, and even at my work, I've started at work at a new place. just this week. And I mentioned that, I've started a podcast with buddies or whatever, just in the icebreaker shit that they do, right? And the amount of private messages that I got from everyone, from girls, guys, all different types of people that were whatever, just interested. They loved it. They were asking questions of the name of this podcast. We started up a group, like a little like social group, whatever, right, in the chat thing, all for MMA fans. So yeah, it's I think it's growing, but also the fans that truly like are there and like it, like really, really like it, right? So it's an exciting time because the sky's the limit, it seems like, at this point for the sport. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Love to hear that.
Totally. I know we had a great episode last week, so the bar is set pretty high for us, but what other topics do you guys want to go over? I know there's it was a quiet week, right? We didn't have a card last weekend, took a bit of a break. Headlines not too crazy. I know Z had mentioned there was a couple new fight announcements. Maybe we can break those down. Z, what you mentioned the Holloway fight, right? That one's kind of circled on our calendars.
Yeah, Holloway and Rodriguez, I think is going to be really, really exciting. Some people are I guess criticizing Holloway a little bit in terms of taking this fight, because he certainly has the stance to wait for that championship fight. I think he has, I think they were going to give it to him, but the Ultimate Fighter just started. That fight's a long ways away. Ortega and Volkanovski still need to fight. So by the time whoever wins that, by the time they're ready to fight, it's going to be January 2022 or February or whatever it is, right? So I think it's good. Holloway, took a fight, but he took a very, very dangerous fight. He's a fucking killer, as we already know. But I mean, early prediction here from Easy Lines, unless I see something different, I mean, I'm taking Holloway. How can you not take Holloway in this fight? But like I said, it's going to be dangerous. It's going to be a dangerous fight, and it's certainly action packed, no doubt about that, right? So that's kind of the one that I wanted to mention here in the cast and kind of circle for everyone, because that's going to be potential fight of the year right there.
Yeah, Yair's it's his unpredictability. He's a way different fighter than Calvin Kattar. I still see Holloway. He's unbelievable. He gets this fight in too. You never know, something could happen with either Ortega or Volkanovski after the season in training, or weight cut, or COVID or something. So if he can get by Yair, though, he could easily step in. He doesn't spar, right? So I mean, it's not like he's taking extra hits in his training. So he could step in for one of those guys as well. He's taking a fight. He's going to get paid. He should do well. He should win. Yeah.
Almost begs the question, when's Calvin going to get back in the ring? Because he took one hell of a beating, and
no kidding.
It was almost like, should he even, continue?
Take a year off, I say, right? Like and his nose was broken, I think, before that as well. Who knows what his nose is fucking doesn't exist maybe after the Holloway fight. So
how about a double comeback fight here? Josh Emmett, Calvin Kattar, both coming off injuries.
That'd be a hell of a
might
fight.
Be
that's you should be a matchmaker. So you throw some good ones out there sometimes. I like that one a lot. Like things I haven't thought of. That's a good one.
My mouth's watering just thinking of that.
Yeah, and we talked about John Jones too a little bit. Moving up to heavyweight. The thing with him, he's it's the back and forth, the battle with Dana, not getting paid enough, saying this, saying that. The thing that stood out for me is what John said is, the longer he has to make that transition to heavyweight, the tougher he's going to be when he finally fights. Because if he fights, let's say in 2 months against, I don't know, Stipe, or the winner of Lewis and Ngannou, if that's 4 months away, whatever. He just recently, got up to the weight of a heavyweight, and it takes a long time. Like people don't understand. We were talking about the differences in weight classes, light heavyweight to heavyweight. Although he's not going to be 260 pounds when he walks into the octagon, if he ever fights at heavyweight, he will be, but it's not a guarantee. That's a huge transition to pack on that weight to start cutting the weight to make sure that it's muscle and not just fat and all that stuff, right? So the longer he takes, he knows eventually he's going to get that payday, whether it's 15 million, 20 million, whatever it is, whatever they come to an agreement. But he also just signed that agent that Showtime Boxing has a great relationship with Dana. So as soon as he announced that his agent was, I forget his name, Dana was like, yeah, I have a great relationship with him. I'm sure we'll get something done. So like, Jones isn't stupid either. He's playing hardball. The longer, I agree with him, the longer it takes for them to actually make that fight, the stronger he's going to be at developing himself at heavyweight. So I don't know. It's interesting, but we'll see what happens. It still looks like Lewis and Ngannou. So I think they just booked that actually.
Yeah, for the interim, and well, in the interim, but yeah, it's almost like a fight within a fight.
Yeah.
Like Jones is so competitive and so like hell-bent on winning the negotiation that he's, willing to kick the can as far as he wants. Now, while I do agree with the whole weight side of it, I'll also challenge you a little bit to say the guy's not getting any younger and the clock is not on his side. So I don't know if that's what Dana's leverage is, right? Like, because then again, Dana's missing out on his pay-per-view numbers and payday the longer this thing goes unbooked and the older he gets. So it's this weird power struggle. And as we know, both guys and both their personalities are not,
they clash. That's
the compromise sure. Or, really give in to others' needs. So I'm sure it'll happen.
Go ahead.
No, I'm sure it'll happen. Like you said, this agent being signed is a sign. It's pointed in the right direction, and it's inevitable. It's just not a matter of if; it's a matter of when.
So yeah, exactly. It's crazy. He is only 33. I just double checked, but it's the amount of ring time he's been in there, right? And the amount of championships that he's defended, that takes a toll. Like
it does.
So I would say
it's a young man's game.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Like all 30, sports,
33 is pretty old to be honest. Like for MMA. Well, he's got like how many good years of fighting does he have left in him? Like
I'd say 3 or 4.
Exactly. So he's only got a couple more fights in him, really, right? So
I guess some guys turn back the clock, right? Like Glover and Jan, like those guys got better. Like they're not better as they got older, but they're both fighting for
no, they did.
But was their damage, I think, to Z-Balls, was their damage the same as Jones in their early years?
He didn't take a lot of time, like a couple fights, the Gustafsson.
later ones, right?
That's kind of the thing, I think, why he's realizing, guys are catching up to me now. I can't just fucking choke out Lito Machida in the first 3 minutes or whatever, right? Like now anymore. Like Dominic Reyes.
Still good, such a good athlete, but he is slowing down. So maybe if he puts on the weight, he'll be a better athlete at heavyweight against slower guys.
That's a good point. That's a good.
The light heavyweights are still pretty fast, right? Like
for him, yeah.
Yeah, and you're right, in the flyweight division, like a 33-year-old versus a 24. Like I think it's a bigger disadvantage to be older in the lighter weights for sure. So I see that.
Which is weird with the examples like Jose Aldo, right? Coming down to bantamweight, and who else has come down? Like Frankie Edgar coming down in 2 weight classes. I know he was never really a lightweight, but he's getting older too, and is taking a lot of. You see the speed difference, like Sanhagen and just fucking. Yeah. Oh man, that was bad. That was bad.
Exactly.
And that fight got rebooked too. Sanhagen and Dillashaw. I can't wait for that. That'll be good.
Yeah, that's another one. Actually, that could be another fight of the year as well, right there.
Absolutely.
Should we jump into easy lines though?
We should get ahead.
We got some nice matchups this weekend, and haven't met y'all at the Cashier lately. So Z-Balls, take it away, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, welcome back for another Easy Lines episode, everyone. We've been off a couple of weeks. Get ready to get back on the grind though, and earn us some units over the summer. We had an excellent summer last year, so let's see if we can repeat that here in 2021. So.
The voice of an angel over there.
Yeah. Well, it's we got a new setup over here. so hopefully the mic's working for everyone. But currently we're sitting at a career record of 120 wins, 79 losses, putting us at a winning rate of 60.3% going into this weekend. Saturday's night main event, heavyweight bout between two top 10 ranked fighters, Rosenstrike versus Augusta Sakai. This is a very close, close fight, certainly, according to the odds makers, at least, with Rosenstrike sitting at -125 and Sakai at +100. Rosenstrike, he's lost 2 of his last 3, but those 2 losses were against Francis Ngannou and most recently a decision loss to Cyril Gane, in which he put up a pretty good performance against an extremely good up-and-comer. Well, more than up-and-comer at this point, right? Gane is kind of considered potential future champion at this point. So, but Sakai on the other end, he's won 4 fights he won 4 fights in a row to kind of start off his UFC career until he ran into Alistair Overeem last September and lost by TKO in the 5th round. Yes, Overeem was cut by the UFC most recently, but he certainly was still fighting at a very high level. Still, Alexander Volkov has turned into an absolute monster as of late. His techniques really, really improved. He's made everyone kind of look bad, right? So I think we kind of forgive that loss a little, or he kind of made Overeem look a little bit worse than he actually is at this point. But Sakai, doesn't really have the best cardio himself. He did beat Andrei Arlovsky and Blagoy Ivanov in split decisions. 2 tough guys, but I think Rosenstrike at this point is a better fighter than those 2. So I am going to take Rosenstrike to win this fight. It is close, but I think that's the better place for the money at this point, -125. Take that as a single or parlay with that some things later on. They're both well-seasoned veterans. I don't see either being able to finish each other early, in my opinion. So I do like the over in this fight, -188, over 1.5 rounds to parlay. With some other things that we're going to mention as well. It could be a 3rd or late round finish by either, or even going to decision here. It is a 5-rounder, but over 2.5 -110, or even if you are heavier than me on the decision at +175 is not bad. I'm personally not going to take, I would like that a lot more if it was +200 or more on decision there, because it could happen, but most likely not. But at the +200 or more, I think it's worth that value. At +175, I'm really more teetering there. I like that over 2.5 more. Rosenstrike by finish, +130 as well. That's my play in that kind of 4 box there with Rosenstrike and Sakai in terms of finish or decision. So, but what are you guys thinking? What are you seeing in that fight?
Yeah, I just agree on the over, but I'm very, very confused by the betting lines on the overs, like the going up around.
Right.
You don't get a ton of value there, even by decision. So I would stick with probably the over 1.5, and I would parlay that with something else. So in terms of the actual fight, I haven't honestly read enough on it yet to even give a prediction. I'm not going to give one. So I'll defer to you and to Kronz, but I like the over 1.5.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, really close. That draw for +8,000 is looking really good. But no, I'm just kidding.
That's a gambler's bet.
I mean, I could see it going anyway. Yeah, I'll just stick with the over, stick with the easy lines, see at the cashier. And I've got some insights to the other heavyweight bouts, so we'll go there next.
Interestingly enough, I think, I don't know, this might be wrong now about the last two main events or so, but I know after the Chandler event for sure, every main event in 2021 has finished either as a decision or a 2nd round finish. And you can go back and take a look at that. It's actually very
crazy.
Very in main events, 2nd round finish, or it might have been different the last event.
No,
or
Rob
two,
Font won by decision.
Yeah, so they might have. Yeah, maybe that's still correct. I know that was correct like 2 or 3 weeks ago, but
That's wild.
It's probably still correct.
Great stat.
But anyway, so yeah, interesting stat, right? Like what I think it shows, it's either, here's what it shows, right? Obviously the main event fighters are both very good fighters. What it shows is that either they kind of stalemate a little bit and they go to decision, or one guy kind of, they go hard at each other, and one guy kind of eventually figures out the other guy, right? It takes him 5-7 minutes to figure it out, but he figures it out and finishes him, right? So I think that's kind of what we're seeing here. Is it going to happen again? Who knows? Well, obviously, I'm going with the end of the second round finish or the decision here, right? Or the over. So that's what we're hoping for there. But jumping into the co-main event, it's another heavyweight fight here, actually, another kind of top 15 fight here. It's between Walt Harris and Marcin Tybura. I believe Harris is ranked 11th at this point. Could be the switch, but anyways, 11th and 8th. And Harris is the underdog at plus 140. Tybura, he's the minus 170. Harris is coming off a 2-fight losing streak against Volkov and Overeem. 2 names we've already mentioned here. Again, Volkov has been running through people's, and we've already kind of mentioned Overeem's situation there, right? So we kind of know what's going on there. But Tybura, he's on a roll. He's won 4 fights in a row, most recently a second-round finish over Greg Hardy and decision win over Ben Rothwell, which he showed, much improved boxing and I think striking there as well, because Rothwell's hands he is a big boy, but he has extremely fast hands for this weight division, actually. So he was able to kind of grind out that win and make himself look pretty good. That's why I am going with Tybura here. I'm going with the favorite again in this fight. In my opinion, I have to, because it's so close. It's really kind of truly hard to fight to choose one in here, because Harris certainly has a lot of athleticism himself, but I think Tybura has really improved over the last couple of fights. He's ready to kind of make that run there, and whereas Harris, I think unfortunately is a little bit on the downtrodden here, a little bit, at least in terms of fighting top 10 guys. I think, in my opinion, he's a good fighter, obviously, but I don't think he's going to be able to beat the top 10 guys, really. So I'm going with Tybura. I like the over as well in this fight. Ash, another heavyweight over. The odds makers, though, they agree with me. The over 1.5 is a minus 200, and then over 2.5 is a plus 100. So that's a huge jump there. It's if you're going to go for value, I think you just go with the over 2.5 and just hope to God it gets there, right? That's what I think there in terms of that value. Or even the fight to go to distance plus 125 if you prefer that, but there's not a whole lot of value added on there, right? So maybe just take the plus 100 and take that extra half round. But what are you guys thinking there?
I'm with you on the over there. That's all I'm gonna say there.
Yeah,
I like the over and Polish power. Can't go wrong.
Because if you take over 1.5, or sorry, 2.5. Well, actually, let's even do the 1.5. Let's see what happens there. Over 1.5 minus 200. Over in the Rosenstrike fight, we'll go over 1.5 there as well. Just to again allow that the end of the second round finish. It allows that to happen, right? So now we're looking at plus 129, over 1.5 in the main event, co-main event, parlay that plus 129. I think that's lovely. Put 2 or 3 units on that, make that your kind of main bet of the evening if you don't agree with the fighters. But yeah, Rosenstrike, I think is decent to lean on there. In terms of my fights that I looked, very close, or close enough at least here, Zone. Those were kind of my main leans. But do you have any other plays that you want to mention for sure?
I do. Crons, you did too, though, right? Do you want to go first?
I mean, I just really think our boy Bulldozer, Mr. Bulldozer, gets back in the win column this week. Sir, Mr. Bulldozer, sir. I think he gets back in the win column. I think that he wins by decision. I'm just liking the odds.
That was my lock of the week, plus 187.
Yeah, honestly, man, we know him. We followed him pretty close. He is good. He's just a little bit too conservative, but I think that helps him this week, and that's great value, right? That's 3-1. Let's go.
That was my lock of the week, man, because Latifi could be on his way out with a loss here, and he's got a blockhead, and he's a monster. So he's going to try and take Bozer down. But if you've watched any of Bozer's fights, he doesn't get taken down, and it's always stand up, and he just uses distance and his defensive mindset, even though mindset we've talked a little bit about. But yeah, no, he'll use his kicks and he'll use his distance control, and I think he wins by decision. I think that's the lock of the week for me.
Nice.
Love it.
Do you have any others, Crons, or?
I was kind of feeling, I don't even know how you say it. Dolidze, Roman.
Dolidze, yeah.
Dolidze, yeah, the Georgian. I was just super impressed with his I don't know, first couple fights here in the UFC. Obviously tough decision, lost the last one out, but I don't know. Same thing. Think he gets back in the win column here. I know he's a little bit of a favorite, but I just think he gets the job done, and minus 150 might be a great little parlay option to toss into your multipliers.
Yeah, that sounds great. And then I got a couple here. Tom Breeze. I'm a big fan of this guy. He's an animal. I think he finishes this fight. It's a plus 130. Really like him to finish that fight. And I had one or two more. Sorry. The Yusuf Zalal, Sean Woodson fight. These guys have both said they're going to knock each other out. I think there's going to be fireworks. I'm not sure, how this is going to finish up, but under 2.5 rounds, I like on that one. And that pays plus 175. I think that's going to be a fireworks fight. And sorry, the last one, I'm not giving a betting odd on it, but my favorite fight on the card and could be fight of the night is Ponzinibbio making his return after his loss against one of the hottest prospects in the entire UFC, Baeza. I just think it's going to be an unreal fight. Something crazy is going to happen. No betting odds suggestions for that, but that's my favorite fight on the card.
It's one of the best names, Ponzinibbio.
Oh yeah,
nickname the Ponzi scheme.
Yeah, that would be a sick name, actually.
Sets up trap for his opponents.
Yeah. So many traps.
Oh, really good. Enron.
Just collecting everyone from everyone.
Although I am looking, he has a pretty sick name, the Argentinian Dagger. That's pretty. That's pretty nail gun.
Pretty nail gun.
Yeah, that's a good one, man. He's beaten fucking Neil Magny, Mike Perry, Gunnar Nelson,
and then he almost died, right? And then he came back and then lost his last one to Jing Yang.
Yes. That was a crazy knockout. I remember that.
It was crazy, and that coming back after all that shit. I just think he comes back a little stronger. But this prospect, man, he's legit. He hasn't lost yet. So
circle that one on the card then. So great insight. Kind of flies under the radar, like you're saying. This card, it's got some sleepers.
There's a couple
sneaky good fights, like you said. Yeah, there's a couple.
Not like crazy
names, fight, but even I don't know, Mac one, Amir. I don't know how to Amir Khani. Amir Khani, he's a name I recognize actually, even though I can't say it. I do know him. Also, Francisco Trinaldo. He's the
old. Yeah, he's
OG.
Man, he surprises people, man. I wouldn't count him out, but I have no betting odds again. But I got to go back to what you said, Makwan. If anybody's ever checked his Tapology page, he has the best picture in mixed martial arts. It's unbelievable. He's basically sitting at a club with a drink in his hand with 4 babes around him. Just that's his fighter picture. That's fucking awesome.
Doesn't make sense.
What?
Oh my gosh, I'm looking at it right now.
He looks drunk. It's fucking awesome.
What? How does he even get? What is that even from?
I don't know. A club. He's just.
Nobody has poker chips. In front of him, though.
It's wild.
Which guy? Salikov?
Makwan Amir Khani.
Oh, Amir Khani.
Yeah, pretty good, man. I love that.
I feel like it's an advertisement for something.
That would be my picture if I was ever a fighter.
If that's ever happened to me in my life, which it won't, but that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that's a pretty crazy guy. You look at him too. How are you finish?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Looks like Arab or something.
Yeah, and his nickname's Mr. Finland. Like,
Yeah, he
after
trained.
a
No,
night with
he was
those
born
four
in
girls.
Iraq. He was born in Iraq, but he trains.
oh,
But
okay.
moved to Finland when he was. Or actually, I don't know about them whole moving thing. I could be wrong on that, so I better not say.
And
But
now he's
he
Mr.
definitely
Finland.
trains out of Finland. Like he's been training out of Finland for a long
Wow.
time.
I'm reading his autobiography after seeing that picture. That's for sure.
Really good.
You have to.
Holy. Looks
Well, his
like a
last loss
music
was to
video.
Barbosa, so like that's I think we forgive that loss. That's why he's a -225 against this Kamula Kirk. I don't know who that is exactly, but
He looks like he
again.
He was a
Lots of
short
good
notice. He was a short notice.
Oh, okay.
Murakami was supposed to fight somebody pretty good. I forget who it was.
Oh, it says right here actually. Landwehr.
Oh, Nate Landor. Yeah, who's an animal.
Yeah.
Not crazy skilled,
Well,
but he was the one
pretty-
yelling last year during the pandemic, Dana, and he punched a guy in the face a few times. Dana White.
and like Woodson, like you said too. He was actually one of my favorite up and comers before he lost his last fight to Julian there, but Julian Erosa. But Erosa has been on a tear himself.
He has been on a tear.
There's a lot of good. I mean, what's that? That is featherweight, isn't it? That
Yeah.
division, yeah. Featherweight's fucking crazy.
It's crazy. And our
Like,
boy,
yeah.
well, at least my boy, I don't know. I don't think Z-Ball likes him too much. Hakeem Dawadu, big fight coming up.
Oh yeah, true.
Hakeem.
A couple Splittersons.
Isn't he? He's Canadian too, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Calgary, really good.
Yeah, that's why I like him.
Canadian Olympic MMA team.
Oh,
Yeah.
Could be Olympic sport. I
think that'd be sick.
Yeah.
that'd be unreal if they did that.
Sick.
And it would make sense. It actually would make sense in the sense of MMA. It would work in it, right? Because obviously, once you turn professional, you're not going to go in there, right? But it'd be all amateurs. It would all be young like guys that were like 18, 19, 20, 21.
New
Spirit
Dana
of the
White
Olympics,
Contender Series.
And then they get signed after that.
Exactly. And then if you win the gold, you're going to get fucking signed by UFC.
Yeah. And you're going to get
obviously.
4 girls that look like Murakami's picture there too.
And then you'll have a career like Kurt
It's
Angle.
included in the contract.
Yeah. And the Huntington Beach bad boy who just resigned from his whatever, he's the governor or whatever the hell he was.
Oh, man.
What a loser.
Stop the count. Well, I think that's just about time for episode 49. We got a big boy episode next week. Episode 50. We might have a special guest, a little returning co-founder, a little birdie might join us
Stop
here.
in.
Here we go.
We'll see.
And he'll be talking about the apex.
Yeah, in the apex, because I'm a casual. So
Such a casual.
Until then,
enjoy the fights this weekend and see you at the cashier.
Ooh.
next up on the Hooks In MMA podcast, we're lucky to have heavyweight. He's fighting on June 4th, BFL. He's fighting Kyle Machado, and he's ready to get back in there. Christian Larsen, how's it going today?
Good, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Looking forward to talking to you for a while here. Just was waiting for, a fight, and we just quickly talked about, the struggles here in Canada with fight cards and COVID. So don't really want to talk about COVID because we've heard enough of that the last year. But just how excited are you to get back in there?
I'm looking forward to it, man. Everything kind of my last fight was canceled literally the day before weigh-ins. So I had a full fight camp and everything, and since then everything's just been in a waiting pattern here. So it's good. BFL, I think this will be their second show in the last little while. So glad that they're having me out, and looking forward to getting back in the cage.
Yeah. So just speak to. I believe did you grow up in Calgary?
No, Edmonton area here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Just speak to growing up there, hobbies you had growing up, and then what got you into MMA.
Well, my background was wrestling. That was all through junior high and high school for me, and 1 year of the opens after high school. So that was good. Sports were kind of my thing: football and wrestling and basketball. But as for MMA, it was Tanner Bozer. The two of us were working at a club together. He was my head doorman. And while he was getting ready for, I think it was his rematch with Tim Hague and it's probably 2015. I just offered to come and train around with him for his fight and help him get ready. And I was in the room putting in the work anyway with these guys and holding my own. So I decided to just stick with it for myself, and had a couple good wins, and things started to take off for me. So I just kind of rolled with it.
Yeah, and here we are. Big fight coming up here, like we said. Just speak to the gym you're currently training out of, and the coaches in your corner for your upcoming fight.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't have been luckier to hook up with Tanner as a training partner. My coaches Jeff Montemurro and Keijo Noda are definitely some of the best in the country for sure. I got a whole group of guys that are just absolute killers for training partners. We were the number one gym in the country last year on one of the rankings as far as competitors and wins with Shea Bear MMA. So, I'm definitely a product of the environment. You can't put anybody in a room with those guys, and if they're able to put in the work, they're going to be successful. So.
Yeah,
out for sure.
Absolutely. So you fought for Unified. Your only loss was to Kilkenny, but you avenged that loss. Just speak to that promotion, and then fighting for BFL coming up here.
Yeah, absolutely. Unified, Sonny Serene. He was a friend of mine well before any of the before I got involved with MMA. I think we're lucky to have a promotion of that caliber. They've always treated me well, given opportunities for all the guys in our gym as well. So I've got couldn't be happier with Unified. And as far as BFL, there's not too many places that are putting on shows. So I'm just thankful for the opportunity to get back in a cage here, and I appreciate Jay and everybody at BFL for giving me that opportunity.
Yeah, so talking about BFL, you're fighting Cal Machado, who obviously just came off that win against Lee Mee.
Yeah, Lee.
So speak to him as a competitor and how you stack up against him.
I haven't actually seen too many of his fights. I know that he's built a little bit smaller than for heavyweight. I don't know what he weighed in at last, but compared to me anyway, he's smaller, and he's good. He's technical. He's well rounded, but he seems to get hit a lot. And Lee cracked him a bunch in that fight, even though it was a fairly early finish, and so I think that's he can't get away with that with me for sure. If I get my hands on him, I don't think he's going to be taking too many before he hits the ground. So
yeah, I couldn't agree more. What I never want to overlook the next fight, but just what will a win there do for you? What would you want next?
I can't speak too much on that. I've got a manager who's looking at a couple of different options. Unfortunately, the feedback was always interested, but as early as my last after my last fight there with Kilkenny, they were looking for one more kind of thing. So one more, and when nobody was putting on fights, that's I've heard enough of that line for sure. But as well, I know I'll have another couple fights with Unified. I'll be looking to defend my title with them as well. So yeah, I'll be around for a while. Not too sure as far as opponents, but I'll still be here fighting.
Yeah, so I'll skip the one more thing, and I'll just say you're right there, and we'll see what happens from there. So just only a couple questions left here, but do you have any family? And then if talk to that, and then also just other hobbies outside the gym.
Well, I do have a family, not much family here. My mom's out in Saskatchewan, and my brother's a teacher out in Cranbrook. But I've got good friends that I've grown up with all my life who take care of me. And as for hobbies, pretty much this summer, man, it's just going to be barbecuing. I got myself an offset smoker. I did some pork belly burnt ends and ribs last night, and as long as my weight doesn't get too out of control, that's pretty well going to be my summer, man. Just staying out in the backyard and burning logs.
Sounds awesome to me.
Yeah.
Our last section here is between rounds. I'll ask you a question in a minute. We'll do rapid fire. You let me know your best answer, okay?
Oh, awesome. I'm good under pressure. Let's do it.
Favorite kind of food to eat? You almost kind of answered that.
Barbecue. Yeah, right there.
Favorite sport other than MMA?
Wrestling.
A must-see spot in Alberta. I lived in Edmonton before, and I did go to like Canmore and Banff. What would your favorite spot be?
Probably Crip Lake. I believe it's in Kananaskis. It's a good 4-hour hike up to a glacier there. It's pretty sweet.
Awesome. I'll have to check that out next time. Favorite country in the world other than Canada?
Oh, Vietnam.
Favorite type of music?
Classic rock.
And favorite band? Favorite artist?
Johnny Cash.
Oh, yeah. Love it. Favorite movie of all time?
Favorite movie? Rock and Rollin'.
Inspirational mixed martial artist that either before that got you into it, you get looked up to, or even now, not necessarily like a fanboy thing, just
Absolutely a fanboy thing. Fedor Emelianenko.
There we go. Don't want to throw it out there. Some people are like, oh, I'm not a fan of them. Probably, I think Tanner Bozer said.
Huge fan.
And how does June 4th finish up for you?
First round knockout, the same as most of my fights.
Looking forward to it. Sponsor shoutouts or social media to finish up.
Yeah, you can find me Red Bearded Viking MMA on Instagram. For sponsorships, the only one I still got hanging on right now is Three Monkeys Tattoo and Apparel in Spruce Grove.
Awesome. Yeah. So June 4th, BFL against Kyle Machado. That's going to be your biggest win of your career, I think, because like you said, first round knockout, I see that happening, and the sky's the limit for you. I really, hope that you get something that you want after that, but let's focus on the 4th. Good luck to that. Christian Larsen, this is Hooks In MMA. Thanks so much, man.
Thanks a lot for having me.
No problem. Next up on the Hooks In MMA podcast, we're lucky to have a heavyweight that's fighting this Friday. He has a 4-1-1 record, and he's got a huge matchup main event card, BFL this Friday. Kiyo, Bigfoot, Machado. How's it going today, man?
Hey man, how are you doing? I'm doing great. Like 2 days to the fight. I'm excited. I'm getting ready to rock.
Yeah, so just speak to where you were born and what kind of hobbies you had growing up there and what led you into the MMA.
I'm from a city on the interior of São Paulo called Presidente Prudente. My entire life, since I was a kid, I don't remember a time on my childhood that I haven't played sports. I was swimming or playing soccer, basketball, handball, BJJ, rugby for a while. My life has always been about sports. In college, I was in charge of the athletics department. I feel like that's my biggest hobby growing up, playing video games and like play sports. I'm not a big watcher, the guy who not a fan that likes to watch a lot, but like play, having fun and compete always be my thing.
I'm right on your side with that. That's all I grew up doing, and that's what I love too. So respect for that. Just for your upcoming fight here, who's in your corner and what gym are you currently training out of?
Yeah, I'm training at Franco Kickboxing Pancreation, FKP MMA. My head coach is Chris Franco, one of the pioneers on MMA in Canada. He's a great coach, and I'm very happy to be with him. We are together for a little bit over 5 years now since I moved to Canada, and yeah, we've been a great streak. I used to train before in Brazil, but since I moved to MMA and started competing, I'm with Chris, and yeah, we've been working good and things are doing good here.
Yeah, so your transition over to Canada, obviously from Brazil. I mean, all your fights have been all your pro fights have been under the BFL banner. So what led to that, and why have you fought just for them, and what was kind of your mentality for moving to Canada, I guess?
So back when I moved here, wasn't even to compete or train. I moved because to come to school actually.
Okay.
I was in between. I drop out of law school in Brazil. I realized that wasn't for me at all, and I wasn't in a kind of like limbo situation that I wasn't sure what would be the next step of my life. And I decided to get a business program for a year here to like figure out what I want and get a path and get the experience of like living abroad. I lived in Nova Scotia for 6 months for high school, but I always wanted to come back and relieve the situation. Once I came here, got back to the gym and started training. I always been kind of interested in that situation of like fighting, competing, even when I was in Brazil. So when I got the opportunity, that was it, and like I fell in love from the cage from the first sight. When I got there and started my first fight, I figured out that that's my path, and here we go.
Yeah. So where do you currently live out of then?
I'm living in Port Coquitlam, BC, but my gym is in Vancouver. So
Okay.
I pretty much drive 30 minutes every day to go back and forth to the gym. It's a little bit of a drive, but like I'm in a good spot over there. Location's not as important as the people I'm training with.
Yeah, of course. And you're coming off a big win over Lee Mean, and then congrats on that. And then now you got a huge fight coming up here on Friday against Chris Larsen. So how do you think you stack up against him? What have you seen maybe through video or previous fights of him that no game plan or anything of that. We don't want to expose any of that, but just, how do you feel about him as a fighter, and how do you think you stack up?
I'm very confident about this fight and how I see this fight going up. I saw whatever I had available of footage on Chris. He's including his fight against Li Ming, that our in common was our opponent we had in common. And his last fight, I forgot the name of his opponent, but was a shorter one. So really much the fight I had to read was against Lee. That was a second round TKO. And honestly, he's a heavyweight. He have heavy hands, and he's going to the blow. He's going to drop some to try to knock me out in the first couple of minutes of the fight. But like, that's all he got from what I see. That's all he got. Like he had on his head. He has 2 minutes to throw a punch and drop me out. And in my head, I have 25 minutes to do whatever I want. My game is way more versatile. I can fight inside, outside, strike, and grapple, wrestle. I'm just a more complete fighter than him.
And that's the interesting thing, right? Because I've talked to a few other guys on the BFL card, and obviously, a bunch of other promotions as well. Talking about a 3-round fight compared to a 5, it's a totally different mindset. It's the longevity and looking at the long term of a fight, not just those first few minutes. So I like your mentality, and I like your mindset going into this. So, being Canadian myself, and also interviewing Chris, it's, I'm put in the middle here for who I'm voting for. I just want to see a good fight. But in terms of the actual strategy, I like what you're saying there. It's, you can stretch it out a little bit, maybe gas them out and see what happens. But I can't wait for Friday. It's going to be fantastic. What would a win here do for you? So I don't want to you never want to overlook any opponent, but if a win happens here for you and it's in the fashion that you'd like, what do you think that sets you up for?
This is the biggest fight of my career so far. Chris and I, we are both ranked like top contenders in Fight of Canada. Whoever is in between us or around us, around any rank, is people who are fighting on internationally, overseas, or UFC.
Yeah, so Dustin Johnson and
Joyson, Archie Bueller, Travis Tanner. There's another guy who's fighting Brave. I forgot his name right now. Like, the thing is, like, that's the fight to go to the next level. Yep. Like, we're number 1, number 2. We're gonna square, and we're gonna see who is the number 1 heavyweight fighting around here, and who gets the shot in the big show. That's how I feel about this fight. I'm 100% confident that's probably how they're gonna play it out, and that's it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm excited to move on, and like, of course, this fight and keep going, keep moving my career. I've been great for BFL, but like, I'm ready. I'm ready for the big show. I'm shooting to big things. I don't want to stop here. I know like that's a fight, and he can win. So I can, same thing as on my side, but like in the big picture, I see myself going like to the big shows and make waves that way. So I want to square with him, do my best, get the win, and move to like UFC, Bellator, One. I feel I'm ready to those shows right now, and I'm ready to prove myself in the bigger scale.
Absolutely, and I couldn't agree more. I mean, this is the main event. It's a 5-round championship fight. It's on UFC Fight Pass. Like, the eyes are there. If you do something special, like I would say, or Chris, but whoever does something special in this could, I would say, at the minimum, lead to like a Dana White contender series, or like any other promotion, Bellator, One, any of those, PFL. But something good's going to come from this, and you guys, you're going to lay it on the line on Friday. Just on a more, relaxed note, you said you're there with, I think, your girlfriend or your wife. Do you have any other family, and what are some of the hobbies you like to do outside the cage and training?
Here, my fiance, we I don't know if I actually proposed to her in the cage in one of my last couple fights ago.
Congratulations.
Yeah, blood, nose, and all. It was something else. But anyways, like right now, I moved to Canada by myself. At the time with one of my ex, and things didn't work out for us. She's back to Brazil, and I met the girl that it's with me for the past 4 years. She's expecting our first kid. So right now my life is pretty much I train, I come back, I stay with her. I'm preparing myself to be a dad. Right now I'm like coming home and building the crib, building the stroller. I'm on dad duty right now, starting right away. So, but my hobbies is like playing video games, watching TV. I'm very big on like TV shows, Marvel comics, and especially like the new like MCU series and Disney Plus they're bringing. Like, fighting under Chris Franco, you need to know a little bit, a thing or two about Marvel.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to get to that. This is our last segment here between rounds. 1 minute rapid firing and ask you some questions. Okay.
Yep.
Favorite kind of food to eat before a fight and after a fight?
Before the fight, I like to eat clean. I like to just like get some pasta to feel myself and get ready. I'm a heavyweight. I don't need to cut weight, so I don't really mind. It's just about like eating clean, eating nice, and be ready for it. And after the fight, I just wanna like, it's a burger, it's a beer, it's all about like everything I can and like just being together. I'm a Brazilian, so especially right now that's summer-ish. It's very hot in Vancouver. I just want to go and barbecue right away, like beer and barbecue.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm looking for.
Favorite sport other than MMA?
I'm Brazilian, so I had to go for soccer. Like, even I'm not following and not watching as much in the last couple of years due to the schedule, and my training never meet the time I'm at the gym with the time of the matches. But growing up in Brazil, you like soccer, you grow up with that, and like
Go back to your roots, right?
Right. Yeah, like there's a little bit of like the relationship with my dad there and our team back home and how we cheer that together. So it's still, even I'm not into it as much, it's always there's always a place in my heart.
Favorite comic?
Favorite comic, I'm Spider-Man all the way. I have even a Miles Morales tattoo on my leg.
Awesome. Favorite TV show?
Favorite TV show? I gotta to say, just finished rewatch Game of Thrones. I know people are really annoyed about the last season, but I really like the show overall. So it has to be Game of Thrones for sure.
Just like the 5-round fight, it's about the entirety, right? Not just one round.
Right. It's not the okay, part of the journey is the end, but like there's the entire journey. We got all the way there. So let's embrace it all. And like
Yes.
rewatching made me like, oh, like ending makes sense. It was a little bit of rush and all, but like I had fun times over here, so I'm not just gonna like fight over.
Favorite, you can't pick Canada, you can't pick Brazil. Favorite country in the world?
Favorite country in the world, if I can pick Canada or Brazil, that's a good one. Like I'm going to say to the place I wanted to visit the most right now has to be Japan. I'm a really Dragon Ball Z fan. I grew up with animes and like I love Japanese food and all the culture. So I think Japan would be a to go right now.
You definitely can't go wrong with the food. Some of the inspirational mixed martial artists, guys that you maybe looked up to or just fans of.
I love for the Brazilians. I love Jose Aldo, Victor Belfort, Anderson Silva. Are the guys I grew up with. I remember like the first fight is in my head, MMA fighter ever in my head is Anderson Silva against Gelsone 1. When like Anderson just got like smashed for the entire 5 rounds and he scored a triangle choke in the last minute. I felt that was amazing. That was kind of what triggered a little bit to me to go back to the gym after a little while, and after I stopped BJJ and come back. That was I used to do that, so let's maybe start nurturing that feeling of coming back to the gym and starting learning again, and there where it goes. But my favorite fighter, as a style, and the guy I wanna try to learn. I try to like see his style and I try to learn most, and I wanna eventually I hope to be able to fight him, John Jones. Like I think it would be great to get John Jones at heavyweight. I think we both are guys who like to move, who like to throw elbows, knees. We are long, you're big and strong, and we have this kind of the same reach, same height. I would love to square with Jones. That would be like he's the best pound for pound, and if I can beat that guy, that would be awesome.
Yeah, sign me up for that. How does Friday finish up? How do you think?
Like again, I'm ready to finish with Chris anywhere. I can go to the. I'm really strong in the clinch. All my knockouts start from there. My knees are like devastating. Also, I have really good knees, and my kickboxing and Muay Thai in general are very good. But I feel I never got the opportunity to show my grappling in the local scene. So I would love to finish him with a submission and just show people that I'm capable of. Sometimes people don't realize that I'm a good grappler because I like to spend my time striking. But I think that's a good opportunity to show off my ground game and finish him and make sure everyone knows I'm all around and a complete fighter.
Absolutely. And any sponsors, shout outs, or social media to finish up?
Yeah. Can I just get a second?
Absolutely.
So on my social media, it's Bigfoot underscore Machado. Bigfoot Machado underscore MMA. My sponsors are the Van Burn Group, DOM, Drive Marketing Group, Action Athletic Wear, and Real City Bros Venture Inc. Beside, also have as a partner the Fourth Media Brazil that are work with my media and all my like artwork from there. Rodolfo Zanin, my nutritionist. Also my new sponsorship, Crave Healthiness, that's been providing my meals for this camp and moving on. And also a big shout out to Chris Franco, Jerry Martin at FKP MMA, and also everyone who helped me with this camp.
Including your fiance, right?
And also, last but not least, my beautiful fiance that's right here right now. Say hi, Gabby. Hi. She's very pregnant at the moment, and we are going to the beach, enjoy the rest of the day or a little bit. And yeah, she's my rock. She knows that like she's been supporting me and helping me with my journey from day one. And like, we're excited for this new step in our lives to go to get this fight, go to the next step, to the next level of competition, and also raise that kid and grow up together, and that'll be fun.
Well, congratulations on your new addition, and good luck with your
Thank you.
wife. Very excited to talk with the new age Bigfoot. The old Bigfoot is coming back apparently, but we're not talking about him. We're talking about what's up and coming, and that's yourself.
Right.
Good luck Friday. Kiyo, Bigfoot, Machado, good luck on Friday. And this is Hooks in MMA. Thanks so much, bro.
Thank you. Have a good day. Thanks for having me here again. It's always a pleasure.
You too. You take care. Good luck.
Awesome. Thank you.
Next up on the Hooks in MMA podcast, we're lucky to have 4-0 lightweight, born in Ireland, but currently living in west part of Canada. Big fight coming up at BFL June 4th against Zach Powell. Dario Sinagoga. How's it going today?
Very good, thanks. And yourself, man?
Yeah, good. Just start off, you came from Ireland. Like I was saying, got some of my roots back there. I definitely don't have that sweet accent you have, but what hobbies did you have growing up there? And then what brought you over to Canada?
Okay, so my background in sports, in physical sense of the way, is rugby. I went to a rugby school. I was in a school called St. Jared's, and from the age of 7, I started playing rugby after school for an hour or 2 hours, and played at the top of my age group all the way up until the senior cup, playing in the senior cup team. Then afterwards, I did 2 years of league club rugby, and then after that, I quit. And that's when I actually had I had like about 18 months in between rugby and fighting where I was breakdancing. And then when I started fighting, I was like, oh, that breakdancing done a lot for me because my footwork was better, my movement was good. You know, it was always a little bit of a groove in my step when I'm fighting. So it kind of helped. But yeah, mainly rugby. And then when I started fighting, I trained with a gym called Legends MMA. They had opened up just across the street from my house. So I went over there, I did a boxing class, did kickboxing class. Then I noticed these guys are coming in their pajamas, rolling around. I was like, what the hell is this stuff going on? You know, jiu-jitsu was brand new to Ireland.
Yeah.
Or at least like maybe 10 years, you know, it was a decade in the making. And yeah, then I just got really intrigued with what was going on. And I ended up just days I'd go to the gym, I'd stay there, I'd do every class. I'd help out with the kids' class. You know, I just love the atmosphere of a gym. And, you know, I like hard work, and you know, people go to the gym to work hard. You know, it's great. I thrive in that area. So
absolutely. And then what age did you move over to Vancouver there?
2014. So it would have been about 25.
Okay.
I had been fighting since 20. I transferred to fighting between 20 and 21. And yeah, I fought for about a year and a half training, and my coach was always pushing me, hey man, let's fight, let's compete. And I was like, you know, man, I got a full-time job. You know, I just come here recreational. It keeps me on the tracks, keeps me away, you know, from socializing too much, and you know, keeps my head screwed on tight. So yeah, and then after about 2.5 years altogether of training, he was like, right, I'm putting you in a fight. So I had my first MMA fight in Rumble and Rush, it was called, one of the towns called Rush, and fought in that. And like I said, I didn't really want to fight. I got in there against a guy who was, I can't remember his name now, but he was a Polish guy and more grappling background. And he came out playing the 3-point rule, bouncing on the ground. I was like, what is going on here, you know? But I ended up winning by ground and pound in the first round. And then I was on the hook. Then I was like, oh, okay. When are we doing this again? Yeah. You know, so that's where it started.
He's in a similar stance to a 6 or a 7 in rugby, though, in a scrum, right? He's waiting to pounce.
That's funny you say that, because I was open side flanker for all of my senior cup team and for the club rugby. I was always good at whoever came around the side of the ruck or the side of the scrum got my shoulder buried into them and they dropped.
That's awesome.
So,
yeah. I was happy when you
played a lot.
I was happy when you brought up rugby, because I started playing at grade 9, and the reason why I told you before I went out to BC, that was one of our tours. We went to Vancouver, Whistler, and Victoria. So that was fantastic. Yeah. And then the Scotland, England, and Wales tour that I told you about was also for rugby. So, you know, rugby brings you around the world, and it's one of the most dynamic sports, and it's absolutely, you know, it's a gentleman's game. So
Absolutely, I agree.
I'm happy you brought that up.
Yeah.
Just talk about which gym you're at now, and then who are your coaches in for your next fight here?
So I'm hailing out of Diaz Combat Sports in Chinatown here in Vancouver. Our head coach is Ryan Diaz. And my supporting coach is Jonathan Hutchinson. I have also Stuart Cooper here. I've got Adrian Sheed here. I've had Lamson Kran here from Thailand. I've had Tanit Watnana. We call him Boom. His nickname is Boom. We've had a lot of good guys passing by. Ryan has a lot of connections. He's been training in Tiger, and we have also Will Elliott from Evolve Gym. He has come here from Singapore. He's our general manager here. So Ryan's just over the last 5 years, the gym started in a small garage, and he's built it up into, you know, bigger spaces as we go along. And now we've finally got ourselves in a place that we call the compound. And it's fantastic here, man. It's like a playground for adults.
That's awesome.
It's great. It's a 3-story building. We got mats on all floors. We got a boxing room top floor, skylights, got a ring, got a cage, got a
That's
VIP
awesome.
room in the back, padded room. So we really have come to shine over the last couple of years, and we're only getting bigger and better, you know.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm coming from. And I fight at Battlefield, as you know.
Yep.
Contracted to Battlefield. Those guys are mainly in BC.
That was my next
And,
question. So you're 4-0, and they've all been in BFL. Just talk about that promotion and you know, how they're doing.
Yeah, so Battlefield, when I first came here to Canada in 2014, I noticed Battlefield because it was the biggest show, and, you know, I seen some good fighters on it, and they were all local guys and everybody competing against each other. And I was like, right, I'm here to fight. And I was like, I want to get on this card within the first year I'm here. I'm on that card. It took me 4 years to get on the card. But when I did get on the card, my first opportunity was a title fight as a welterweight. So the welterweight title was up for grabs. And the only reason I kind of merited the opportunity was from my first amateur title, which was down in AXFC down in Edmonton, in Washington. So Charlie Combat Sports down there in Edmonton, they have a show, AX. I know a lot of guys came up in it. Demetrius Johnson came up in it as an amateur, and a couple other guys. So it's a very, very prestigious show for amateurs, just amateurs. And I was down there fighting a couple amateur fights. I won the welterweight title against Jay White. I had fought him previously and lost by decision. Then we went off. We had our own couple fights, and we won some fights. And then they were like, okay, the only two guys that can fight for this title are these two boys, you know. So they brought me back down to fight him. And second time round, you know, you might beat me once, you don't beat me twice.
Yeah.
So I took the title home, and then from there, Battlefield were like, oh, who's this guy going down to the States, you know, in the name of Canada? So I got pulled onto that show. Against a very tough opponent. Like, you know, I don't really train in the gi. I used to before, but I haven't been belted. I'm a white belt, you know, 0 stripe white belt, you know, and I got in there against the brown belt and TKO'd him in the 4th. So, and then from there, I got my professional contract, and it's been go ever since.
Yeah, so you've amassed a 4-0 record. It can get to 5-0. The ironic thing about that is your opponent's also 4-0. So someone will be 5-0 and someone will be 4-1.
Yes.
How do you think you stack up against Zach Powell? And what's going to make you still have a 0 in your loss column?
So because the both of us are 4-0, it reminds me of my pro debut. I was fighting a guy here, a local guy from the city here, from Lions MMA. Daniel Richards, his name was, and he was the 155 amateur champion, and I was the 170 amateur champion. So both of us were vacating our titles to meet at 165, and that's how I see this fight. It's like both of us we're fighting for our record, you know, which always makes an exciting fight, because the heart is going to be there. You know, whether a fighter has shown heart in the past, you're going to see heart from both fighters, because nobody's going to want to dirty their record. So I see it like that. It's going to be an absolute war. It's going to be beautiful. It's a great thing. I'm very excited about it. Like I said, I haven't come up against anybody with such a wrestling background, and I've been excited to work on my wrestling and kind of fortify some of those weak links that people might have thought I had. And everything is just to push the attributes up. Every day we come to the gym, sometimes I push these attributes up, sometimes I push these ones up. And we all know that as you're doing this one, the other ones are going down. So
Yeah.
just trying to keep it balanced, keep it mixed up, focus on what I'm good at as well. Don't slip there, and improve on where I'm a little bit, where I need a little bit more work.
Yeah, no, that's a great way
So
to put it.
yeah, very excited to practice my new skills.
Yeah, we're very excited to see that. So,
Yeah.
just never want to look too far ahead, but what will a win here do for you moving forward? What do you want, kind of, in your next?
Well, yeah,
little while?
there's been a lot of people and a lot of connections, and a lot of opportunity, and people would look at me as if I'm up and coming, and but it's a very difficult game to be in. If you're winning, you're taking strides ahead, but as soon as you lose, it's not just one step back, you're going back. It's you're only as strong as your weakest link, and you're only as good as your last victory. So I got to keep winning. People are talking to me about like opportunities, maybe to go Contender Series, the way some of the other pro fighters have gone with Battlefield. People have talked about UFC, stuff like that. I'm wearing my UFC hoodie right now, like I'm in it already. But I got this from the Amanda Nunes, what was it? Spirit of a Fighter. Do you know the Modelo ad?
I've heard of it. Yes.
Yeah. So they shot the Modelo ad here in Vancouver, and I actually got pulled up to be on it. So if you notice, you'll see me on that advertisement. That's where I got all my, my cool UFC stuff. They sent me a bag of bits and pieces.
UFC,
but that's it. Yeah, I gotta aim high. But like I said, it's just one fight at a time. Yeah. My goal now is to work on my record, and wherever it takes me is where it goes. I'm not here to be famous. I'm here because I love fighting. I've got to where I am because I love the sport. People keep saying UFC to me, but I don't. For me, it's MMA. I'm a mixed martial artist.
Yep.
That's what it's about for me. If my playing field is UFC, so be it. I took a dive into a hole, the martial arts world, and I'm just want to find out how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Yeah. No, the open mindset's a smart way to go. It's no set stone stuff, just whatever happens, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Well, what do you have any family, and what are some hobbies you do on the side other than training and fighting? And
interesting you say that. I have people all the time messaging me on Instagram and Facebook and contacting me and be like, hey man, you shouldn't be doing that. Like, you're a pro athlete now. You got to make sure you're not going to hurt yourself, But here in BC, we're spoiled for choice. So in Vancouver here, I do lots of hiking. I do lots of trail running. I did just recently in the last season, I got into backcountry skiing. Never skied before. Went up backcountry skiing. I'm pretty good at picking things up. I got good control over this body, so I'm able to kind of pick things up fast. So yeah, a bit of backcountry skiing, rock climbing, do a lot of rock climbing. Recently, I just picked up my rollerblading again. I used to freestyle rollerblade as a teenager. Everyone was on their skateboards. I was on rollerblades.
That was before the break dancing, right?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So yeah, started to skate as well, just because we don't usually work our posterior chain. Obviously, we do everything full body exercises and all, but a lot of the time as a fighter, your hips are so loose for kicking. You find that fighters have duck feet because their posterior chain, their glutes, their hamstrings don't get as much work as the rest of them. Everything's kind of like very anterior. So with skating, it's the opposite for when we're kicking. So I push out, and it's causing me to be a little bit more balanced. And I find that it's just helping kind of all around, kind of even me out a little bit. So I'm doing that for that. If I can not go into the gym and have to lift weights and do the kind of mundane thing, I won't. I'd rather go out hiking, trail running, biking, climbing, skating, stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's a little bit more fun for me.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Our last
still do a lot of breakdancing too. Breakdancing, a little bit of parkour and stuff. If there's a foam pool, you'll catch me doing backflips into it and stuff. Yeah.
That's awesome. Our last segment here is called Between Rounds. So it'll be a minute. I'll fire off some questions. You give me your best answer, okay?
Sure.
What's your favorite kind of food to eat?
Quinoa. That's just the business.
Favorite sport other than MMA?
Rugby.
I like that. Favorite spot in Ireland, if someone's never been there, like myself, where would you tell them to go visit?
Anywhere over the West Coast. Galway, Kerry, Ring of Kerry. Yeah.
Favorite country in the world, and you can't pick Ireland and you can't pick Canada.
Italia.
Okay.
Sempre azzurri. I'm half Italian. My father's Italian, so I speak Italian. Italy is also my home.
Awesome. Favorite kind of music?
Oh, hip hop.
Yeah. Favorite artist?
Jay-Z.
Favorite movie of all time?
Gladiator
Yeah. And
or Braveheart.
yes. A couple of MMA fighters that have been inspirational to you, or either at the start of your career or now.
Interesting. Obviously the homeboy, Conor McGregor, as much as he's got a little chip on his shoulder, well, I say little, but he got a chip on his shoulder, you can't fault him for what he's done in the ring. You know what I mean? He self-belief can be unstoppable. He's proven that. So definitely him. And Shinya Aoki, I like his submissions, and any of these
got
guys
a nice
who are
win
just
streak right now too.
Yeah, any of these guys that are just like super slick and just that they've done their 10,000 hours. They're the masters.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And last thing is, how's June 4th finish up for you? How do you think that fight's gonna kind of roll for the entire?
It's gonna be a grind. It's gonna be an absolute grind. Daniel Powell's tough man. You know what I mean? Being tough is entry level for professional MMA, and he looks like a workhorse. And it's gonna be tough. He's gonna be in the pressure, but I'll be meeting him with just as much, if not more, pressure. And as a big peer of mine, Dejan Kajic here in Vancouver, said to me before, he said, being a workhorse is the lowest level of athlete. So for me, when he said that to me, because I would consider myself a workhorse, I go. I enjoy the grind. I enjoy the struggle. But when he said that to me, then I really started to kind of think a little bit more and thought about the longevity of everything. And I've definitely kind of cleaned up my act, so I'm definitely more wholesome. And, again, I just want to shine, I just want to do my best. And it's all about my performance. If I go out there and I perform really, really well and I lose against a better opponent, that I can go home with that. I can deal with that. But if I go out there and I get beaten by myself, or I don't perform the way that I expect to perform or the way that I know I can, that's an upsetting day. So all in all, it's just about the performance.
It's great way to put it. Any sponsor shout outs or social media to finish up?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Big thank you to my nutritional coach, Sean Wicks. You'll catch him on IG, the Diabetic Fighter. It's really, really good. He has type 1 diabetes and he works with athletes. He himself is a fighter and trains and weight cuts and stuff like that. So with me, I don't have diabetes, touch wood, ever. But with me, I'm like a playground to him, or anybody who goes to him who doesn't have any of those kind of issues and isn't restricted like that. His guidance is crucial. Like it's really, really good. So I felt the best that I ever did in my last fight. I could, close to 15 pounds the day before on the weigh-in, and I could have put 10 more. It's feeling really good. So huge thanks to him. Big up to him. Also as well, Moto Concept here in Vancouver. Those guys there have been helping me. We're just kind of in the process to getting the ball rolling, but those guys will be helping me out in the future. And the DCS family all the way. If anybody is in Vancouver and you want to get a workout and you want to get into a nice community and feel the love and the support, we're here. We're here for everybody. You know what I mean? All you got to do is take the step in the front door, and we'll take you the rest of the way.
That's awesome. And yeah, that Craig Shintani win was fantastic. He's no slouch. So congrats again
Absolutely.
for that.
Thank you very much.
Looking forward to June 4th. It's BFL 67. Good luck to Dejan Kajic as well, as he's got that welterweight championship against Kyra
Absolutely.
Cameron. Good luck to you, sir.
That guy won't be beaten. He's class. If you see him in the last few fights, man, he's in a league of his own.
Looking forward to seeing that as well. But ultra focused on that fight that you have. Thank you so much for your time today.
You too,
June
Matthew.
4th, BFL 67, 4-0 against 4-0. Good luck to you, sir, and thanks again, Dario Sinagoga. This is Hooks in MMA. Thanks so much, man.
Thank you.
Next up on the Hooks in MMA podcast, we're lucky to have 4-1 bantamweight. He's got a huge fight this Friday for BFL. Seriy Sidey, how's it going today?
It's good, buddy. How are you?
Pretty good, thanks. I appreciate your time. You were just talking about heading out tomorrow, heading out west, and getting ready for the week here. So, yeah, what's the week look like for you before you fight Friday?
Well, man, yeah, we're just gonna get down there, get settled. We're gonna cut some weight, man, and then just hang out, man, refuel. I had a really good weight cut so far with my nutrition. I mean, last 9 weeks I've been counting calories and making sure all my nutrition on point. So this is gonna be like actually my easiest cut to bantamweight, which is ideal for me because this is a 5-round fight, right? So I don't want to cut too much water. I want to feel very good when I get in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And then just speak to, growing up, where did you grow up and what got you into MMA and led you to, where you are today?
Well, I was born in Chernihiv, Ukraine, actually, and I moved to Canada when I was 6 years old. I got into MMA actually because I used to play rep soccer and I kept getting in fights, and my mom just kind of got tired of me like starting stuff, and I got suspended for a few games. So she signed me up for like a local BJJ school here in Burlington called Bama, and man, ever since then I was hooked. Like I started with the jiu-jitsu, but then I got real hooked into the kickboxing aspect of it because they offer that, and then man, it's been a nonstop. So I think I was 14 at that point, so it's been 10 years now.
Yeah, and just sharpening those skills and speak to
Yes,
the
sir.
gym that you're training at and coaches in your corner.
Yeah, man. So I'm training in a couple different facilities right now, man. Burlington Training Center, Big MMA, which is going to be Lyndon's new gym since Parabellum unfortunately shut down because of COVID. And the Niagara Top Team, I go down there a few times, especially for this camp because they got a lot of good wrestlers down there. So, I mean, I got a big corner, man. Like I got Lyndon Whitlock, my main coach. I got Paul Jalbert, who's a BJJ black belt from Burlington Training Center, helping me with my jiu-jitsu. I got an old school guy here named Gavin Hessen. Not a lot of people know who that is, but he's a legend out in this area. He was like Lyndon's first head coach as well. So he's my boxing coach, my striking coach, and then I get a lot of help from Chris Prickett to a top team with my wrestling. So I honestly have every single base covered.
Yeah, I tried to backdoor you on that question. So I grew up, obviously I went to school with Lyndon and Josh Hill as well. So we had Gavin Hessen come in once in a while and teaching us grappling, and
Yeah, bro.
know him very well, a great guy. And when I talked to him last year at one point for our podcast, he brought up your name as a guy to watch here coming up. So, I've seen you fight a couple times. Which brings me to the next question. Your last fight before the pandemic was in Kitchener against a tough fighter, Matt Vogel, who's great grappler and all that stuff. So with the pandemic and all that stuff, I know you said you're working in Niagara with the top team guys and some grapplers. So has that been, I guess, a key focus moving into a fight where a guy's got 2 rear naked choke wins and potentially could try to get it there?
Yeah, man, 100%. Like, every fight you win or you learn, man. And that Mateo fight, yeah, excellent grappler, man, and taught me a lot. We sat down after that fight. We picked out on those little technical errors, and then COVID hit, and then it was just, man, like every single day focusing on my grappling, on my wrestling. But I feel like, man, since COVID hit, I've been at fight camp. Like I train 2 times a day every single day. Since then, not even in camp, but like this is all I do. So it's been dissecting that, working my grappling, working my wrestling, and like this is why I wanted this fight with Ali, because he does bring similar problems that Mateo brings, and this is a great time for me to kind of show the world that I fix those little technical errors, and then I kind of get this one back for myself.
Yeah, and like this could put you at 5-1. It's a big matchup against a Western Canada guy that's also got the same record. A lot on the line as well. And you spoke to it, a 5-round fight. So that's this Friday, June 4th, BFL. What do you think of him as an opponent, and how do you stack up against him, other than what you just said with with him maybe taking it to the ground or trying to, anyways?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. I mean, I think he's a very well-rounded guy from a good camp. I know his head coach used to be in the UFC, and I actually watched him growing up. It's a good team, man, but like this is the kind of challenge I want, man. I don't want to be fighting these guys that don't have these kind of records. I knew he's up and coming. I watched his last fight and I was very impressed. So I hit up my manager. I was like, okay, let's make this fight happen. And I think my advantage will definitely be my speed, my explosiveness, and my unorthodox style, man. I don't really think you can prepare for my style. It's very unorthodox. I switch left and right, and I got a lot of a lot of weapons that are always coming in weird patterns and weird unorthodox movements.
And there's something to be said too, with someone like yourself asking for a matchup like that to test yourself, as opposed to, and I'm not a fighter, so I shouldn't be chirping them, but guys that maybe try to pad their record and say no to those kind of fights, and but accept the ones with, guys have 2 wins and 1 loss, and they're like 6-0 or something, and they're trying to pad their record a little bit. So I condone you for that.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so just wondering, what a win here could do for you. I obviously don't want to look past this, but what could it do for you? What could it set you up for?
Yeah, man. This is a very big event, right? I'm fighting for a title on a promotion that's broadcast by UFC Fight Pass, so there's gonna be a lot of eyes. That's why this fight was very motivating for me, because I want to get to the UFC and I want to get there battle tested, right, with great opponents. So I feel like this is really going to get me that step closer, maybe win the belt, defend it a few times, potentially get on Dana White's Contender Series or a short notice UFC fight. But that's the goal, man. So that's why I'm picking these matchups, right? And then again, once I am in the UFC, then I already have been battle tested. I fought the best guys in Canada, and I'm not going to come in there with a padded record with a bunch of wins against guys that have no business being there.
Yeah, exactly. And usually those guys are the ones that get clipped pretty well early because they haven't faced that competition, right?
100%, man.
Outside the gym, what are a couple of hobbies you have that you like to do other than training?
I like skateboarding, bro. I like to cruise on my skateboard. I go hiking. I'm really big into like going to float tanks and meditation, mindfulness, man, just hanging out with my girl, hiking. But honestly, dude, like I'd be lying to you if I told you that I actually do things outside of fighting and training, man. Like when I'm not training, man, I'm watching videos, I'm training jiu-jitsu, I'm reading books, and any kind of self-growth, man, to kind of put me where I want to go. But yeah, man, skateboarding I'd probably say is my only other hobby, and Lyndon doesn't really let me do that too much.
I'm not surprised. Yeah, that's a complete martial artist, reading and watching stuff too, right? So
everything, man.
Sharpen those skills in the mind as well.
100%.
Yeah. So to finish up here, a segment called Between Rounds. It'll be 1 minute. We'll kind of rapid fire through some questions. Sound good?
Yeah, sound good, bro.
Favorite food to eat?
Tacos.
Favorite sport other than MMA?
Skateboarding.
Favorite spot in Ontario?
Ooh, good one. I would say Wasaga Beach.
That's a good one. What about in Ukraine? Do you have a spot? That have you been? First of all, have you been back there since?
I haven't been back, man. I'm the only one in my family who hasn't been back, but I would love to come visit my hometown, Chernivtsi.
Where is that? Sorry,
Chernivtsi, Ukraine.
Okay, and Canada or Ukraine is excluded. What's your favorite country in the world?
Oh, that's another good one. I've never been, man, but I think I'd love Thailand. I think that's a lifestyle I would enjoy.
Yeah, I'd like to get there too.
Yes, sir.
What about favorite kind of music?
It all changes, man, but right now I'm in a hip hop phase.
And favorite...
metal and hip hop, man.
Okay. Is that because of Gavin or what?
Gavin, bro, 100%, man. I brought up on it, man. Both of those. Yeah.
Of course. Heavy metal Hessen, right?
Yes, sir.
And some of the inspirational MMA fighters, maybe that they're in the UFC or they're retired, guys you kind of looked up to as you're, you were growing as a mixed martial artist.
Yeah, man. Like my 3 guys are now that I really enjoy watching would be Max Holloway, Corey Sandhagen, because I feel like I emulate that style well, and Israel Adesanya, man, beautiful strikers, lots of volume, and killers, man, killers.
Yeah, and those guys aren't like the short, stocky guys. They're the taller, skinny, picky
man,
guys. So I like that. Yeah, and then how does this Friday finish up for you?
Man, hopefully this Friday finishes up with a good highlight reel KO, man. I mean, I'm always looking for an awesome finish, man, and I feel like I get them a lot. I'm not gonna, rush and attack anything, but I feel like once I go in the flow and I find my opportunity, I can really hurt him with most parts of my body.
Yeah, sounds good. And sponsor shout-outs or social media to finish up.
Yeah, man. So, guys, my social media is City MMA on Instagram. That's kind of the only thing I use. And then my sponsors, Burlington Training Center, Choice Edibles, Grind Fitness, Brandon Rinka 365. That's my strength and conditioning coach. And Endorphins Health and Wellness. They take care of my body. Oh, sorry, last one. Go Float Studios, float tanks, man. I've been abusing their studios, using them as much as I can for visualization and recovery.
I'd like to try that sometime. So yeah,
Yes,
shout
sir.
out to them. Niagara Top Team's got some big stuff be happening. You're part of that. Parabellum. Obviously, Lyndon's got his new gym up and going. There's some big stuff happening here in Ontario, and we wish you the best for this Friday. Big battle, 5-round fight. Got a feeling it might not go that 5 rounds. Thank you so much for joining Seriy Sidey. This is Hooks in MMA. Thanks so much, man.
Thank you, man. See you soon.